Hi, this is Algebra 1, Lesson 1-3, solving equations with a variable on both sides. In this lesson, we'll be able to write and solve equations with a variable on both sides to solve problems. Let's look at explore and reason. Some friends want to see a movie that is showing at 2 different theaters in town. They plan to share 3 tubs of popcorn during the movie. If you look at the graph, we have the ticket price for theater A and B, and popcorn price for theaters A and B. What do you notice about the prices of the tickets and popcorn at the theaters? It's more expensive for the ticket price in theater A, but the price of the popcorn is greater in theater B. Noticing that, let's start solving parts A, B, and C. Part A, which movie theater should the friends choose? Explain. So which one would the friends choose? Which one is the better option? So which one is the cheaper option? So they plan to share 3 tubs of popcorn is an important information. They're gonna buy 3 popcorns. So let's figure out how much total would they use for each theaters. Wait, let's go this way. So for theater, if we multiply 3 popcorns for theater A, what should we get? We get 14.5 plus 3 times 5.75. Three times 5.75 is 17.25. So 14.5 plus 17.25 is equal to 31.75. So that's the price for theater A. Oh wait, we need to include the ticket price as well. 3 times 14.5. So that's 43.5. So 43.5 plus 17.25 should be 60.75. For theater B, we have 3 times 13 plus 3 times 6.75. So that's equal to 39 plus 20.25. And if you add those two, you will get 59.25. So total, theater A would be more expensive than theater B for them. So they should choose theater B. But if we have some friends that are more than 3 people, then they should go to theater A. But if we're assuming only three friends go, if 3 friends go, they should choose theater B because it is cheaper. Part B. For what situation would the total cost at each theater be exactly the same? In order to figure this out, what do we need? An equation, or you can guess and check, of course. But it would be very helpful if you figured out the equation. So depending on the number of people going, theater A would have an equation of 14.5 times x plus 5.75 times 3, because the 3 types of popcorn doesn't change. Theater B would have 13x plus 6.75 times 3. So if we set them equal to each other, setting up an equation, 14.5x plus 5.75 times 3 equals 13x plus 6.75 times 3. If you solve for x, when are they exactly the same price? You will notice that x is going to be 2. So the total cost would be exactly the same if 2 friends went to the movie. We know that x is 2. Whoops. Okay. See, there are different methods to solving this problem. Which do you think is the best? Why? You can look at the tables and maybe add them all up individually, or you can write equations like this. It is very efficient to write equations, and that is why we're learning it, right? So we can say writing down an equation to solve this problem would be efficient because we can just solve for x or for the variable to know how many people would make the prices equal. Okay, so throughout this lesson, we'll think about how we could create equations with a variable on both sides and use them to solve problems. Look at example 1. Solving equations with a variable on both sides. Part A. What is the value of x in the equations shown? So if the equation is already set up, you should know how to solve them. So make sure you combine the like terms. X terms could be combined together, so 3 and 4 could be added together. And you can use the distributive property to solve for the parentheses. So distribute the -2 by multiplying -2 with x and -4. So it becomes -2x plus 8. And then you can add 2x on both sides so that you have the like terms on the left side and the right side. You can add 10 on both sides to do the same. So then you have 9x is equal to 27. You divide 9 so that you can isolate x, and x is 3. Part B, what is the value of n in the equation shown? When your variable is n, it works the same way. Make sure you use the distributive property to solve for the parentheses and combine the like terms in order to figure out your variable. Now it's your turn. Try number 1, solve its equation. Please solve parts A and B, pause the video and solve it. Come back when you're ready for answers. Okay, are you ready? Look at part A. What is the first step that you need to do? You need to use the distributive property to solve for the parentheses. So 100 should be distributed out with z and negative 0.2. So you get minus 0.2z is equal to negative 10 times 5z. So that's negative 50z. And negative 10 times 0.8, which is minus 8. And so the next step should be simply just adding all the like terms. You can move the negative 50z on the left by adding 50z on both sides to make this part 0 and add 50z on the left side. So 100z minus 0.2z plus 50z would be what you, wait, that's 100 times 2, I'm so sorry. So that is going to be 20. And that is 20. So I'm going to add 20 on both sides to get negative 8 plus 20. Okay? And then you add the like terms. 100 plus 50 is 150z. And 20 minus 8 is 12. So you should get z is equal to 12 divided by 150, which is equal to 0.08. So the answer for part A is 0.08. In the same way, you distribute the fraction here. 5 over 8 times 16 is 16 times 5 divided by 8. You can divide 16 and 8 first to get 2 times 5, which is 10d. So distribute this and get 10d. And then 5 over 8 times 24 is 24 divided by 8, which is 3 times 5. So that's 15. And that's equal to 6 times d, 6d. And 6 times 1, which is negative 6, plus 1. And please combine the like terms, group them together. You're gonna subtract 60 on both sides to get negative 60 over here. And subtract 15 on both sides to get negative 15 over here. And add them all up to get 40 is equal to negative 10. And so d is equal to negative 5. Wait. 40. 20. This is 21 plus 1. So negative 21 plus 1 is negative 20, sorry. So that is going to be negative 5. Okay, let's look at example 2. Understand equations with infinitely many or no solutions. Part A, what is the value of x in 4x plus 6 is equal to 2 times parentheses 2x plus 3? You can look at the algebra tiles to represent and solve this equation. For x is represented as the long green tiles and it's positive. So 4x is 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 6, yellow, is representing the positive ones. That's equal to 2 times 2x plus 3. So you have 2x plus 3 repeated twice. So then you can reorder them and you can cancel the 4 green tiles out. And you can cancel all the 6 tiles out. You get 0 is equal to 0. So is it all true for all values of x? An equation that is true for all values of the variables is an identity. So in this case, you do not have an answer for x. X could work in all numbers. So x could be any number. This is called an identity. Part B, what is the value of x in 6x minus 5 equals 2 times 3x plus 4? Sometimes your x will disappear, but your equation will not make sense. Negative 5 equals 8 is what you get after your x is eliminated. All your x terms are gone, so you don't know what x is. But looking at your equation that's left over doesn't make any sense. Negative 5 is not equal to 8, while in part A, 0 is equal to 0, 6 is equal to 6. Those equations make sense, but this is not true. So that means there is no value of x that makes the equation true. That means none of the numbers could be x in this situation. So when you're solving for x and x has disappeared, there are two possible solutions to that. Make sure you look at what is remaining. If your equation makes sense, it is called an identity equation. And that means your x is true for all variables, all values. So any numbers could be the answer. If your equation doesn't make sense and the equation is not true, the equation has no solution. So in this case, it's infinitely many solution. Versus no solution. Okay. Now it's your turn. Part 2. Solve each equation. Is the equation an identity? Explain. Does it have no solution? Explain. So show your steps and figure out the special answers for parts A and B. Come back when you're ready for answer. Okay, so when you solve for this, what do you get? You're gonna simplify this and say that becomes t minus 27. T minus 27 is equal to negative, distribute the negative, negative 27 plus t. And then you will get rid of t and you get negative 27 is equal to negative 27. Is this an identity? Yes, it is true. Yes, the equation is true for all values of t. So yes, this is an identity statement. Part B. If you solve for this, what do you get? 16 times 4, when you distribute the 16, it should be 64 minus 16 times 3 is 48, so 48m is equal to 96 times negative 96 m minus 2 divided by 2 plus 1 times 96, 96. Okay, so then that's gonna become 64 minus 48m is equal to negative 48m plus 96. And then you get rid of the m's. If you add 48m on both sides, you get 0m, and you get 64 is equal to 96. Is that true? But 64 doesn't equal to 96. So this is not an identity statement. So you can say no. Explain. There is no value of m that makes the equation true. Okay, let's look at example 3. Solve mixture problems. Arabica coffee costs $28 per pound and Robusta coffee costs $8.75 per pound. How many pounds of Arabica coffee must you mix with 3 pounds of Robusta coffee to make a blend that costs $15.5 per pound? So this is an organization table. Looking at this information, there's a lot of information here. You want to identify the important information. Arabica coffee costs $28 per pound. Robusta coffee costs $8.75 per pound. And you want to know how many pounds of Arabica coffee you need to mix, which is your variable, with 3 pounds of Robusta coffee to make a blend that costs $15.5 per pound. So Arabica coffee, Robusta coffee, and coffee blend are shown here. Prices for each: $28 for Arabica, $8.75 for Robusta, and you want to make a coffee blend, like a mixture, that costs $15.5 per pound. Okay? The amount for Arabica you don't know because that's what you're trying to get, so that is your variable. Robusta coffee is going to be 3 pounds. You're going to mix with 3 pounds of Robusta coffee. If you multiply 3 times 8.75, that is the total cost of Robusta coffee for 3 pounds. So $26.25 is what you need to pay when you buy 3 pounds of Robusta coffee. And you want to write an expression for the total cost of Arabica coffee as well. 28 times A in the same way should represent the total cost that you need to pay for the A amount of Arabica coffee that you mix. And so the expression for the total cost of coffee blend that you want to make would be 15.5 times A plus 3, because the amount of pounds that you have would be the amount of pounds you mix with Arabica coffee and Robusta coffee combined. So you can use these to write an equation to represent the situation. So the total cost of Arabica coffee plus the total cost of Robusta coffee should equal to the total cost of coffee blend for that amount of pounds. So 15.5 times A plus 3 is equal to 28A plus 26.25 should be your equation. And solving for A is 1.62, so you need to, now you know that you need to mix 1.62 pounds of Arabica coffee with 3 pounds of Robusta coffee to make a blend that costs $15.5 per pound. Now it's your turn. It's going to be the same question, just different numbers. So let's try number 3. How many pounds of Arabica coffee should you mix with 5 pounds of Robusta coffee instead of 3 to make a coffee blend that costs $12 per pound instead of 15.5? So change those numbers and set up the appropriate equation and solve for it. So if you can do it by yourself, come back when you're ready for answers. Okay, have you set up the equation? Have you solved? So, instead of this table, what do you have? Arabica coffee would represent the same thing, right? But Robusta coffee, instead of 3 pounds, you have 5 pounds. So 8.75 times 5 pounds would be the total cost of Robusta coffee, which is 43.75. And coffee blend, instead of 15.5, you want $12 per pound. So you can write the total cost for the new coffee blend as 12 times A plus 5. And so setting up your equation should be easy now. You should have 28A plus 43.75 is equal to 12 times A plus 5. Okay? And then solving for the equation, you're going to have 28A plus 43.75 is equal to 12A plus 60 when you use the distributive property. Solve for the parentheses first. 28A minus 12A is equal to 60 minus 43.75 when you get set up for the like terms. And and 16A should equal to 1625. And finally, your A is 1.015625. So what is your answer? Approximately 1.02 pounds is how much you need to mix. How much Arabic coffee you need to mix with 5 pounds of Robusta coffee to make a coffee blend that costs $12 per pound. Good. Let's look at our last example, example 4. Use equations to solve problems. Cameron pays $0.95 per song with his current music service. A new music download service charges $0.89 per song with a $12 joining fee. Should Cameron switch to the new service? Write an equation to represent when the cost for any number of songs S, the variable S represents the any number of songs, the same for both services. So his current plan is $0.9 per song, but new plan costs $12 to join, but it's gonna be cheaper per song, $0.89 per song. So we're gonna write an equation that represents the new music service cost and the Cameron's current music service cost. So 0.89 times the number of songs that he plays plus the joining fee of 12 should equal to 0.95 times the same variable S. When you solve for the equation, you should get S is equal to 200. What does that represent? That means the cost for the two options will be the same for 200 songs. But after that, after 200 songs, if he listens to more than that, if he downloads music more than 200, then new plan should be beneficial for him. So if Cameron plans to purchase more than 200 songs, he should switch to the new service because it'll cost less than his current service. So after you figure out the answer for your variable, you need to be able to interpret that in your own problem and situation in order to answer which option would be better. So now it's your turn. Look at the trial question. It's the same type of question, but now Cameron's friend tells him of another service that has a $15 joining fee, but charges $0.8 per song. It's much cheaper than his new or the current plan. At what number of songs does this new service become a less expensive option than Cameron's current service? So see if you can solve this by yourself. Pause the video and come back when you're ready for an answer. Are you ready? So you're going to set up the same equation, except you're going to set up this new joining fee and $0.8 per song, the cost for the song, right? So instead of 0.89, we have 0.80 times S plus 15 of joining fee, and that's equal to 0.95 S in order to see how many songs will make each plan cost the same. And then after that, he'll be able to get a better option. So 15 is equal to 0.95 S minus 0.80 S when you subtract 0.8 S on both sides. Combining like terms, you get 15 is equal to 0.15 S. And so S is equal to 15 divided by 0.15. And that's equal to 100. So what does that mean? After when the cost of the two options will be the same for 100 songs. So after that, whatever is cheaper per song would be cheaper. So we can answer that the new service equals the cost of Cameron's current service at 100 songs. would be our answer. If you got that correct, great job. All right, let's summarize our lesson. In order to solve equations with a variable on both sides, make sure you solve for the parentheses first and combine the like terms in order to solve for the variable. For these special cases, when your variable is gone, you still need to look at your equation and see if it makes sense. If it does make sense and it's true for all variables it is true for all variables, then it is an identity. So it has infinitely many solutions. If this is not true, if your equation is not true for any value of x, it means it has no solutions. So please remember these two key ideas. Alright, that was it for lesson 3, solving equations with a variable on both sides. We'll continue with lesson 4, literal equations and formulas, in the next video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask Ms. Kang in class. Thanks, guys. Bye.